Alright, so, I had just gotten off work like an hour ago, and I put out a video with some cool damage in it, and I was like, yo, if anyone comments that they want a video, I'll make a video over it. The build that I'm using, and somebody did that literally 1 minute after I posted it. And, I'm tired. I could definitely just put it off to tomorrow, but I decided I'd give it out now. Why? Because I have nothing else to do. So let's just get right into it. So basically, the last build that I had used 5 elements, and I did a lot of math, and I learned that Borderlands actually has math in it. Would you believe that? And I put no effort into doing math until now. So what I've learned so far is that cryo does not work with Armageddon, which means that we can just take cryo out of the build because it never procs anyways, because we do so much damage that it never procs. So, and I also learned Groundbreaker. Groundbreaker is a cool thing. I understand that this is a big deal in the melee community, and honestly, that's cool. You can use phase puncher or face puncher all you want, but I'm not using that. I'm just going to punch things. So, let's get right into the skill tree right off, just because I know a lot of you lazy bastards just want to see the skill tree and then move on. So, we have 5 out of 5 in Anima, and that being said, this is just for the status effect duration. That's about it. Apparently, status effect damage is practically useless in this game, but we want that duration. 3 out of 3 in steady hands, so that we have handling and accuracy. 2 out of 5 in infusion. You can optionally put 1 out of 5. I prefer 2 out of 5. 16% damage just seems a lot better than just 8%. It never seems enough to me, being 8%. Tempest, we have 5 out of 5 for some extra elemental damage. 1 out of 1 in Deep Wells, 1 out of 3 in Catharsis. I had originally made a video over this, and I had accidentally had 3 out of 3 in Catharsis, which is way overkill, and I needed to tweak a few things. 3 out of 3 in Indiscriminate. This is amazing. I love Indiscriminate because this damage from these bounces off, as well as like Catharsis and Remnant, all count towards damage that can be used with Groundbreaker, so it's absolutely insane, especially when you're coming to mobbing. We have 1 out of 5 in a sustainment, so we can get a lifesteal. 4 out of 5 in Conflux. Please don't take this as I have 5 out of 5. There's 4 out of 5 in there. That being said, like I said, status effect is not really that useful in this game, but I needed to get down to forceful expression, and putting it into this would be much better off than putting it into any of the other ones. So we put it into this. Forceful expression, then it's just for bonus damage, bonus elemental damage. It's nice to have. We have 3 out of 3 in personal space for bonus damage, 2 out of 5 in root to rise to get down to Samsara. Samsara is probably one of my favorite skills. It's absolutely amazing. So we're going to be using that with our little face cast build here. We have 3 out of 5 in heavy rain here because we had a few extra points over, and I was like, what would be a nice thing to put that in? And honestly, heavy rain would work fantastic with this. We have 1 out of 5 in do harm. That's just to get our extra rush stacks. We have 3 out of 3 in fast hands because we don't want to use alacrity, because we want to keep as many rush stacks as we can, and this takes away. We have 3 out of 5 instead of 5 out of 5 in Violent Tapestry now, because it turns out that 5 out of 5 is really overkill. And honestly, since status effect damage doesn't really do that much, and status effect procs per bullet, then it's going to be proccing all the time regardless, because we shoot fast bullets. So, Violent Tapestry only needs 3 out of 5. 5 out of 5 in Restless, so we can have that action skill cooldown rate, because we're going to need our action skill as often as we can, and I'll get more into that later. 3 out of 3 in Transcend, so we can do more damage, just because it's overall better damage for crits and stuff like that. It's really cool. 3 out of 3 in Laid Bare, more damage. 3 out of 3 in Wrath, more damage. And now we get to put 3 out of 3 in From Rest, which is fantastic for me, because I love using the Beacon, and I love using the Hell Shock. Actually, the Hell Shock's probably one of my favorite guns ever. 1 out of 3 in Remnant. We want that orb, we want that damage, and we have 0 out of 3 in Awakening now, because it is completely overkill and not needed for this build. 1 out of 1 in Avatar, just so we can use our face cast as often as we can. So yeah, that is the whole entire build, points wise. Now I will go over explaining the gear. The gear, so like I said earlier, cryo does not matter really in this game for Amara right now, at least in this build. So what's really nice is that we have like fire in the Hellwalker, corrosive in our chaos, whatever fire, electric, and hell shock. We got all this fun stuff, which means that we already have a built-in element there. We have then like radiation on our transformer, shock here, and let's say we go put corrosive on here, then our hell shock has all 4 of the elements along with it, which means that now we just get a shit ton of damage. And you know where we get that from? This press F to get damage skill. That's right, after using Phasecast, weapon damage is increased by 250% for a short time. This is definitely a cheating skill, and requires no skill, but who gives a shit? This game is a PvE game regardless. So I recommend you use this. It does a ton of damage. It's so much fun. I love it. I especially love it with the Hell Shock, and it's amazing because we have our Groundbreaker, which we just have more damage to put into that. So that clip that you saw earlier, that's where I got a lot of my damage from, was indeed from Groundbreaker, but that was because of the amount of damage we got out of this Phasecast weapon slam thing, or weapon damage thing. We use the Phasegrasp, of course, and we will also be able to switch to the Spiritual Driver depending on what you're doing, but the Phasegrasp is just going to be the better and easier way to get through everything. I'd recommend that you use the Spiritual Driver for bossing. And then the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge we want to use because we'll constantly have dots on people, which means that we'll constantly have this stacked. You can also use the Elemental Projector to keep, for your Spiritual Driver, but that's about all that'll be used for. For our grenades, all we want to do is make sure that we have the action skill and gain 50% of whatever element you do not have already. Unless, of course, you're bossing. Bossing, you want to try and match elements. Remember, though, you cannot match shield and grenade elements. So, like, let's say I'm going to go take out Grave Ward, for example. Okay, I have fire in my Hellwalker. I want to then put fire into my action skill, and I want to put one of these into being incendiary, and then the other one into radiation, because I did a little more math research stuff, and I guess radiation does like a certain a percentage of damage, and radiation is like 1.0, so it's better than using shock, but I'm not exactly sure how that works with Tempest, because perhaps shock is better. I'm not sure. I'm not going to put that much effort into it. But you want to have like radiation action skill end on your transformer, incendiary action skill end on your grenade, and then let's say we have electric on our hell shock, then we have electric, and then we have corrosive over on here, and boom, we have all 4 elements. It's constantly giving us extra damage because of Harmageddon, and now we have Groundbreaker. So if we do a certain amount of damage over time, we can just punch something and it'll die, which is what that previous clip is from. So if you like the build, let me know. If you have any questions, you can go to Lazy Data's Discord, because I got banned from Moxie's because I was being a smartass, but who gives a shit? But yeah, I'm in Lazy Data's now. Ping me, ask me questions, and I'll definitely give you any answers that you need. If you'd like the save file, I can put it in there as well. And, have a good day. Drink some water. Definitely got my water bottle here, and I hope you enjoy. Adi.